Good evening, everyone. Alawapade friends. Welcome to a very beautiful day, and welcome to the third episode of Principles of the Baha'i Faith. Today, I want to use this opportunity to thank all my Baha'i friends all over the world, from the US, Canada, Australia, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Sierra Leone, all over the world that has really supported to ensure that the first and second episode was a success. Today, we are going to be looking at another principle of the Baha'i Faith titled The Equality of Men and Women. What is the equality of men and women? We know that in the history of creation, in the history of mankind, women have always been seen as unequal to men. Women have been denied so many things as far as society is concerned. They have been denied the right to speech. They have been denied the right to education. They are seen only to be suited or fitted for the kitchen. But then, dear friends, over a century ago, for the first time in religious history, Baha'u'llah, who is the founder of the Baha'i Faith, in announcing God's purpose for this age, proclaimed the principle of the equality of men and women. He says categorically that women and men have been and will always be equal in the sight of God. Wow. You would not have imagined the uproar, the chaos this caused during the time of Baha'u'llah when this proclamation was made. Remember, in the history, women have been treated as next to nothing. They have been denied basic rights to education. They have been denied the right to speak. Even in the history, they are made to cover themselves before they will come in public. And imagine the present manifestation of God, giving that decree that women and men have been and will always be equal in the sight of God. Of course, this proclamation was not taken lightly by the men of those days. But then we know that the establishment of equal rights and privileges for women and men, as Baha'u'llah have said, is a precondition for the attainment of a wider unity that will ensure the well-being and security of all peoples. The Baha'i writings, therefore, states emphatically that when mankind shall receive the same opportunity of education, the equality of men and women will be realized, the foundation of war will be utterly destroyed. What does it mean? What does this mean? How do we put an end to the war and the strife that we see all over the world today? It's happening everywhere. There are stories of war in different countries. And Baha'u'llah has told us emphatically that the only way to bring these wars to an end is when mankind shall receive equal education, equal opportunity to education. This means both men and women are given equal rights to access education. When the unity or equality of men and women is realized. Dear friends, for some of us, we might be saying that, it can never happen. This is a far-fetched principle. But according to the manifestation of God for today, Baha'u'llah, he has said that this is possible. And the only time that war will cease is when the equality of men and women is established. Thus, dear friends, the vision of equality of men, the Baha'i vision of equality between the sexes, rests on the central spiritual principles of the oneness of humankind. The principle of oneness requires that we regard humanity as one single individual and one's own self, our own self, as a member of that corporal form or that corporal body, and that we foster an unshakable consciousness that if pain or injury affects any member of that body, it must inevitably result in the suffering of all the rest. That is deep, right? But this is what Baha'u'llah have said. This is his teachings. These are his writings regarding the equality of men and women. Baha'u'llah teaches that the divine purpose of creation is the achievement of the unity of men and women. This is the divine purpose. God never created creation and say that one gender will receive lesser attention to the other. Baha'u'llah, in his words, dear friends, he said, "Know ye not why we created you all from the same dust? That no one shall exalt himself over the other. Ponder at all times in your heart how you were created. Since we have created you all from the same substance, it is incumbent upon you to be even as one soul." To be even as one soul. So when we have that feeling of superiority, when we have that feeling of being more than the other person, we should think and reflect on the fact that Baha'u'llah says that God has created all of us from the same dust. And the purpose of that is so that no one will exalt himself over the other. And Baha'u'llah continues to say that we should walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, and dwell in the same land. That from our inmost being, by our deeds and by our actions, the signs of oneness and the essence of detachment may be made manifest. Dear friends, these are the words of Baha'u'llah regarding the equality of men and women. Baha'u'llah has told us that this is a principle. It is how God has created the world, the same equal opportunity being given to men and women. The full and equal participation of women in all spheres of life is essential to social and economic development. The ambition of war and the ultimate establishment of a united world order. Dear friends, the full and equal participation of women in all aspects of life, all aspects, agriculture, education, medical, you name it. Women have to have equal participation in all the spheres of life, both social and economic development, and the abolition of war and the ultimate establishment of a united world. In the Baha'i scriptures, the equality of the sex is a cornerstone of God's plan for human development and prosperity. Dear friends, I'm going to repeat that because these are the words of Baha'u'llah. He says that the equality of the sex, the equality of men and women, is the cornerstone of God's plan for human development and prosperity. Take a look at countries that have prospered. They are prospering because the rights of women are respected. Women are given the same equal opportunity as men. The world of humanity is possessed of two wings, Baha'u'llah says, the male and the female. So long as these two wings are not equivalent in strength, the bird will not fly. Imagine you take a bird and you break one of the wings because you feel, oh, the bird is very strong. You break one of the wings, it will never be able to fly, no matter how powerful the other wing is. And Baha'u'llah says that we should liken the world like a bird, and man and woman are like the two wings of the bird. And we are told that until mankind reaches the same degree as man, until womankind reaches the same degree as man, until she enjoys the full arena of activity, dear friends, until she enjoys the same arena of activity, extraordinary attachment I'm going to get. Baha'u'llah says that the world of humanity is possessed of two wings, the male and the female. So long as the two wings are not equivalent in strength, Baha'u'llah says the bird will not fly. Until womankind reaches the same degree as man, until she enjoys the same arena of activity, extraordinary attainment of humanity will not be realized. Humanity cannot wing its way to the heights of real attainment. When the two wings, Baha'u'llah says, become equivalent in strength, enjoying the same prerogatives, the flight of man will be exceedingly lofty and extraordinary. These are the words of Baha'u'llah, dear friends. This is what he has said regarding the equality of men and women. Imagine a bird with only one wing. No matter how strong the bird is, as powerful as an eagle, it cannot fly with only one wing. And this reminds me of a song I learned in my children's class when I was still very little and in the children's class. And it says, if I can still remember, it's sung by, I think it's sung by Red Grandma or something like that. It says, with two wings we can soar through the earth. With two wings we can go almost anywhere. With two wings we can soar through the sky. With two wings we can fly. Difference. Women and men are equal. They are, as Baha'u'llah have said, as the two wings of a bird. The Baha'i writing states that to proclaim equality is not to deny that differences in function between men and women does not exist, but rather it affirms the complementary role of man and woman fulfilled in the home and society at large. We know that in a home, the mother has her responsibilities, the father has his responsibilities, and so likewise even the children. Stating that, Baha'u'llah states that the acquisition of knowledge serves as a ladder for human ascent. Dear friends, these are the words of God for this age. Gone are those days when the rights of women is trampled upon. Women do not have access to education. Women do not have a voice to speak, to air their opinions in meetings, or even take part in societal activities, be it economical or social. Baha'u'llah has rewritten the history of women. Baha'u'llah prescribes identical education for men and women, but stipulates that when resources are limited, dear friends, priority should be given first to the woman. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. There can be in a family, the parents do not have sufficient resources to educate both the male and female. Baha'u'llah says, give the girl child the priority to education. And the reason for this, he said, is because the girl child or the female child is the first educator. The mother is the first educator of a child. So imagine a mother who lacks education. What will she be able to teach her children or be able to teach her offspring? And Baha'u'llah said also that when you educate a girl child, you have educated a nation. The benefit of educating a female child or giving equal rights to a female child is boundless. It is through educated mothers, dear friends, that the benefits of knowledge can be mostly diffused throughout society. We cannot underestimate the value of an educated woman. Baha'u'llah has made this very clear in several teachings, in several writings. He has told us that the role of women in the present day dispensation cannot be denied. We know this as Baha'is. We know it. This is what Baha'u'llah has said. It is in this discriminatory and injurious results that must change how women have been treated over the years. The right of women of motherhood must be protected. And justice or the justification for keeping women socially and economically disadvantaged, all those must stop in the dispensation of Baha'u'llah. Great honor and nobility, Baha'u'llah says, have been rightly conferred on the station of motherhood, and the